The typical rate of speech in the United States is 130 words per minute. A typical page of double-spaced print is 260 words. That is, one page of print equals 2 minutes of talk. 2 pages of print equals 4 minutes of talk. This equivalency between speech and print, between speaking and writing, is more than numerical. Words do the same work for the writer as they do for the speaker. Now, there are important differences between writing and speaking, but their similarities are more than their differences, and for the writer, they're more instructive. Too often, we define writing as the production of print. A teacher says, write a 3-page paper, which translates into, your assignment is to produce 3 pages of print. A professor says, your final project is to write an in-depth research report. Somebody asks, how long should it be? The answer comes back, 25 to 30 pages. You make a note of this, 25 to 30 pages, because that's the bottom line. You'll need to manufacture 25 to 30 pages of print. As if that's what writing meant, to produce print. It's not just teachers that have promulgated this myth that writing equals print. Technology is a co-conspirator in the fraud. Keyboarding, whether you use all 10 digits or just 2 thumbs, is a physical activity that takes place between the fingers and the screen. Print, in other words, is produced out there, not in here. And that's where we make a profound mistake, when we confuse the manufacture of print with the creation of words. The first is called publication. The second is called writing. The first exists for the eye, the second for the ear. Writing is not the production of print. Writing is the reproduction of voice. To put it another way, the aim of writing is to approximate voice on the page. Your voice, your way of thinking, your way of speaking, your thoughts, your values, your temperament, your authenticity, integrity. All that is conveyed in tone of voice, and tone of voice is as real in writing as it is in speaking. But in writing, it's harder to achieve. When I mark student papers, I like to sit on our deck at home and read those papers aloud, literally out loud. I try to hear the voice on the page. If I can't recognize a human voice, if what I hear sounds more like it was made by a machine, I don't feel any obligation to respond, really. And frankly, why should I? Print, no matter how beautifully it fills the page, can't command a reader's attention. To do that, writing must speak in a recognizably human voice. Try that exercise for yourself. Read aloud what you've written and listen to the words as you read them. It won't be hard to tell when there's an authentic voice speaking and when there isn't. John Cheever, the great American story writer, when talking about his alcohol consumption, famously said, I can see a sip of sherry in a line of prose, by which he meant that when rereading his own work, it was easy for him to tell exactly where he'd taken a drink. Well, something like that happens when others read what we've written. It's easy for them to tell exactly the point at which the writer has ceased to speak through words and instead has settled for the mere production of print. Again, our aim as writers is not to produce print, but to reproduce voice. Social media are helping to break down this wall between print and voice. On the internet, everybody's a writer. Everybody can be a publisher. In social media, you can recognize your friends' voices. They can recognize yours. Blogging and tweeting are personal, informal, immediate. And these qualities usually are associated more with talk than with print. Print can carry voice. This is true in the executive summary of a business report. It's true in a daily blog. The voices of those two may be different, but the need to give voice in print is exactly the same. Think again about the numerical equivalency between speaking and writing. 1 page of double-spaced print equals 2 minutes of talk. A person rarely gets the opportunity to speak for more than 4 minutes uninterrupted. That's just 2 pages. And it's pretty rare for a person to be allowed to speak for more than 1 minute uninterrupted. That would be just a half page of writing. This is so when taking the floor at a business meeting, when being given the microphone at a town hall meeting. when pitching a story to a Hollywood producer, and when arguing a case before the Supreme Court. What you can't write in 1 page, or say in 2 minutes, is unlikely ever to get read or be heard. Fortunately, a person can say a lot in 2 minutes, can write a lot in 1 page. Twitter demonstrates that a person can say a lot in under 140 characters. Now, here are 2 practical suggestions how to infuse your writing with a greater sense of voice. First, try writing aloud. Listen to the words coming out of your mouth. Don't just watch print scrolling on the screen. Second, imagine that you're writing to a specific reader, as when you tweet or text. Imagine that your reader is bright, well-informed, capable of following a sophisticated argument, skeptical, and demanding of respect. Imagine this reader is apt to push back. Speak to him or to her. Projecting voice into print, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're listening for. That's what viewers of CNBC are tuning in for whenever the Oracle of Omaha speaks. And it's what shareholders in Berkshire Hathaway are reading for whenever they receive Warren Buffett's annual letter. His voice is unmistakable in person, and it's just as unmistakable in print. You can do that.